Hello, all you amazing and wonderful Cosmoteers. Welcome back to the channel, IStandAlone Gaming. And today we're going to be continuing our part 2 of our Cosmoteer playthrough. But with that being said, first thing we're going to end up doing is learning how to build a ship. So with that being said, we completed all of level 1 quests from this station right here. So if we go ahead and hail real quick, all we have left are the faction conflicts, which tend to get you bad relationship with somebody, or deliveries, which are usually timed. So I don't really like taking those. Maybe later, once we start having more and more resources, we might start doing deliveries more and more, but it really depends, because if we're not going to get, take another look real quick, if we're not going to get reputation out of it, there's really no point in the early stages to like get rid of things like diamonds. So keep that in mind. One other thing I want to mention before we get into our building is that if you build next to a station, it will automatically fill the resources that you need. So let's say if I wanted to build a bunch of reactors, right? Let's go ahead and put this up here. So typically, if I take off the mirror mode here, maybe it'll let me. So here we go. I can go Control Z and undo. But basically, if you have the resources on you, it will use your resources first. But if you are next to a station and you use those resources, it will take those resources instead. So let's hop out of here real quick. Let's grab these materials for some reason that they didn't want to grab. Let's go ahead and sell our copper real quick. Sell all this. We'll keep the processors for now. Initiate trade. Unpause. Pick these up. That's my mistake. But there's a reason we did it. Go ahead and pick these up too. I don't know why I didn't take them. Alright, so once we go back to build mode here, where you press B, I would highly recommend, especially once you start getting into larger ships, to start using blueprint mode. Basically, this takes you into like a blueprint section here, and you can adjust things without actually building the ship. Basically, say for example, we have these two reactors now. We can go ahead and place both of these, but if you look down in the bottom right, we can't make it work because we don't have the uranium. Whereas if you weren't in blueprint mode, it will actually just place whichever one you have and use those resources. So if you're in blueprint mode, it won't use your resources until you click this button down here, which is very nice, especially when using a bigger ship, or if you're trying to upgrade your ship, you'll know exactly what you need before you can actually make it so. One other thing, there's also mirror mode down here. You want to do mirror mode, you can have it symmetrical on both sides. Definitely play around with that. And if you hit Control Z, it's an undo, so you can actually take away anything that you place by pressing Control Z. So mirror mode is very useful for the beginning stages. There's some equipment that you can only need one of, or you won't need a mirror mode for. So just play around with both and see what you like. Right, so with that being said, we can get started. So the first thing I want to do is use this select tool here, and I definitely recommend getting very familiar with this tool. So basically I can go, let me turn on mirror mode real quick. I can go and select, say, my engines right here, and then I can hit cut. Now this will actually take them off of my ship, but you can see it moves the whole section of my ship to wherever I want to move it to. So if I wanted to move out 2 more spaces, or if I wanted to move down 2 spaces, I could do that. Definitely very useful, especially, again, once you have bigger ships, you'll definitely need to start doing that. So let's go ahead and select this again, cut it, let's move it out. Let's move it out to there for now. Place a corridor right here. Place some armor. We could place more engines right there if we'd really want to, but let's place some armor here, We can actually move these down. Let's move those down like that. We can copy this, rotate, place 2 more of these. We got plenty of people then. We need some doors. Place one there, place one here. So at the same time, I also recommend keeping your cockpit and your reactor pretty far away from this area if you possibly could. So let's go ahead and place this instead. We should have plenty of people. There we go, just like that. Place the doors here. Can put some more engines. 1, 2. Can't place that there. Put mirror mode back on. Build this here. Go back to armor. Place some armor down. Like so. We could copy this guy, like so. Put this right here. Let's go back to defense. Turn off mirror mode. We need a fire extinguisher. Let's do fire extinguisher over there. So now let's do fire extinguisher over here. We'll go back to person's airlock hatch. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. Place a corridor here. Place some doors. And I think this is good enough for now. Let's go ahead and place some doors. I highly recommend when you first just get done building a ship, at least when you're just starting out and you're not really sure if you're doing anything right, highly recommend hitting make it so. Before we make it so though, there's 2 things or 3 things you should really look at. All 3 of these gauges are very helpful in the progress of your ship. So command points are gained by placing cockpits, and you need a certain amount of command points in order to basically function as a ship. If this is ever in the red, or if you go over the total, you will not be able to move your ship at all. You won't have enough command points. It'll tell you. Number 2, crews and beds is the people that you have on your ship. So it suggests that you have 13 for this ship that we have currently. We have capacity for 26. So right now our crew is 6 people because we just upgraded everything. A total that we could get is 26, and the suggested crew is 13. And then the last one down here is your power consumption. So it suggests that we have 2.0 power, and we could probably get that. I highly suggest that we actually do get 2.0 power, because lasers actually take a decent amount of power. And last thing you want to do is run out of power with your weapons and or shields. Pretty much all 3 of these are like vital, especially in combat, which this game is mostly based around. Your engines, I mean, during flight are very important, and if you need to maneuver are very important during combat. But if I had to choose in combat between my engine or my weapons, or my weapon or my yeah, Jesus, if I can speak today, or my engines and my shield, I would definitely pick both weapons and shield over the engines. Preferably I'd like to have all 3, but it's just one of those things. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is actually move this over one like this, like that. We have a little bit more room here. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to leave that right there. We're going to copy and place a secondary one, like so. So now we have a hallway down both these sides. Place a hallway there. We can add some more engines if we really like. Place some doors there. But the more stuff that you add to a ship, if you look, it'll probably say more recommended. So suggested now is 14. And it's probably because of the power and the engines that we added. So keep all this in mind as you're building, that these help you in your process of building. And this is going to be yellow until we get 14 people, which we can get right after this. So we're going to go ahead and make it so. So it's not the best looking thing, but we're also only level 2. So it is what it is. So let's get out of build mode. Let's hail the ship or station here. And if you click on this tab where it says hire crew, you can hire your crew. So the more fame that you have right here, tells you in the top left, is the amount of crew that you can hire. So every time you hire somebody, once you reach a certain point, maybe just not yet, but at some point they start costing fame. So you have to, it doesn't actually like spend your fame, but you have to reach that threshold before you can purchase them. So keep that in mind as you are also progressing and building your ship, because if you cannot get the crew based on your fame, then you cannot also man your ship. So definitely keep that in mind, especially when you start making bigger ships. You can only hire like 20 people per station. You can hail other ships. So if I go ahead and hail this other ship real quick, you can hire from there. But as you can see, it costs a little bit more every time you hire somebody. And you eventually will reach a limit. So see if we can hail this guy. No crew for him. See if we can hail this guy. Got one guy there. So we're making pretty good progress. We have a decent amount of people. We have a shield. We have decent weapons. So let's go ahead and start our level 2 quest. So in order to start level 2, we'll head over to this station over here. Because if you look in the top left, it tells you what level the station is right in front. So this one's level 2. Let's head over here. Times 8, and I will see you guys in a minute. All right, so here we are at the new station. All we have to do is move a little bit closer. We can hail and finish this quest, and then he will have a bunch of bounties, which are basically your quests. We want to get all of those. Again, faction conflicts usually make somebody mad at you. I would either wait till you have a better ship, or if you really want to piss somebody off or play like a bandit or something, then I go ahead and play factions. But at some point, the other ships will start attacking you too. And then again, deliveries. Don't worry about deliveries unless you really want to. It's up to personal preference here. Let's go ahead and max out our crew. So as I said before, once you hit a certain point, you'll see that they start requiring fame. So let's go ahead and hit hire. See how each person requires a certain amount of fame, and anything over my 52 threshold I cannot actually purchase. So once you start building bigger and better ships, your limiting supply, or your limiting factor in the campaign at least, will be your crew. So you have to basically defeat or complete quests and bounties and obtain all the fame that you're going to need before you can actually build the bigger and better ship. So just keep that in mind, that you got to kind of slowly progress. There is a point in the game where it doesn't feel like it's so such a thin line that you have to ride. But definitely keep in mind, if you lose crew, it does not matter how you lose the crew, whether you lose them in space by not picking them up. For example, if you're picking up materials and stuff and your crew is still outside, like this guy, and you decide to leave, see how he does not actually get to the ship. And this will eventually cause him to die, because he will eventually run out of oxygen. That's one way to lose crew. Another way to lose crew is, say, for example, you take a really big hit into one of your, bed areas, you'll lose crew that way. So main goal, do not lose crew if you can help it. Don't go into fights if you don't think you can win. Because if you lose that crew, you can replace them. But let's say, for example, I have all the crew that I could possibly get, and my next guy is this guy. If I take 5 losses in crew, I can't hire the 5 guys to replace him until my fame increases. So definitely keep that in mind. Especially as a new player, that was one of the hurdles that I had to get over in order to learn how to actually build stuff and build ships and stuff. But with that being said, and with me being done talking, we have all these bounties. So we have 2 asteroid fields to clear, and we have 5 bounties in total, regular bounties, and we could go ahead and complete all of these. So let's head up to this location first. Just head right up here. We'll fight this guy, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. See this little marker here? This means that one guy didn't actually get into the ship. So let's make sure everyone's on the ship. All right, everyone's on the ship. Could have lost somebody already while I'm trying to tell you to watch out. But yeah, if they're in space, you have some time in between whether they pass away or not. It'll sit there and give you an O2 warning, which is oxygen, for those that don't know. But for those that do, congratulations, you paid attention in class. But anyway, here we are. We got a level 2 effigy, and then he has disruptors. So disruptors are extra painful for shields, because as you can see, they shoot little like EMP blasts and actually take away our shields. So I highly recommend taking out these guys first if we can. And then we'll take out his other weaponry. There we go. Our shield is back up. We took out his weaponry. And let's take out his cockpit. And he is done for. So we left a trail of madness in our wake. So let's go back here. Loot up all this stuff. Now that we have all the extra storage room, we should be able to pick it all up. Definitely pay attention when your crew is out of your ship. What did we just shoot at? When your crew is out of your ship like this, and you have a large number of people outside of your ship, and you're looting, that you can and will probably be attacked at some point. Just pay attention when those indicators pop up, when it says that there's a ship in proximity, and you should be okay, but he's definitely shooting at something. Weird. So let's take apart all of that. This should let us repair. And we are done with quest number 1. So make sure everyone's on your ship. And then head out. So we're going to do this for all of these guys. It's probably going to be similar. We'll probably show anything that is... ooh, what's that? Is that another ship? It is. Actually, it's a storage pod. So when you run into these, typically you find really good resources. All you have to do is mine it. Got a bunch of uranium. Found some diamonds. Nice haul there. We got 2 stacks of uranium. Very nice, very nice. In the beginning of the game, we'll probably just end up selling it. But later in the game, you can actually start crafting and make like a ship that you can craft multiple resources. You know, the coils, the enriched uranium cells and stuff like that. So definitely gets more intricate as you go along. Let's go ahead and fight this guy. Zoom in real quick. Take out his cannons. Cannon's the only thing he has. Take out his, after his cannons, we'll take out some of his engines. And if we can take out his engines, he'll be fish in water. There we go. Pop, 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 pop. And just like that. So we took out all of his engines. The reason I take out his engines, because if you leave the power core, so the cockpit works too. If you take out the cockpit, the ship will go down. You don't have command points. You won't be able to run the ship. But in this situation, the cockpit was behind the reactor. So the reactor gives you really good resources if you can leave the reactor alive on the ship. So if you blow up the reactor, it pretty much blows up some of your resources. If you can just, you know, pop the engines instead of the cockpit, you'll still have all your resources. So let's zoom out a little bit. We started the battle up here. Let's grab all these. We're going to loot everything and head back to another bounty. So let's go ahead and grab all this stuff. All right, before we go, let's slow this down all the way. I don't think we're going to get caught here, but what I'm worried about is getting caught. So what we're going to do is turn the ship this way. That button recalls all of your crew. We have 25 people outside of our ship right now. He's barely going to miss. So if he would have came in our bubble, he would have started attacking us. And we would have been in a situation where all our people would have been caught outside. And none of our shields or weaponry or anything like that would have been ready for the battle. So that is the one downside of looting all this stuff out in space, is like if your crew is outside, your shields and stuff are kind of not ready. So there are ways around this. You can set up crew commands where you can designate certain crew for what. So you can go ahead and designate one of these rooms specifically for the shield, and that way he won't ever go and grab resources. But that's something we will discuss probably further along in the game. All right, so here we are at another bounty. Let's see who we got. We're going to slow this down. Go to 1 for now, and then we'll go to a half. Zoom in. I like to pause it as soon as you could see them. And we have something similar to what we already fought. So we can go ahead and take out the standard cannons, take out the lasers that he has on the side. Then we'll start taking out his engines, like so. Pick and choose. If you hit shift and click on your opponent's ship, you can select which ones that you're going to go after. So if you do a right click, it'll only pick the one, like so. But if you hit shift click, you can start selecting them in order that you want them to fire. Speed this up a little bit. Not even making it through our shield there. So he doesn't have a whole lot of engines right now. What we could do is try to turn to the side here. But every time I've tried to do this, typically they turn with me. And see how he's turning with me? And usually I don't end up getting behind them. One other thing that you could go ahead and do, I think one of the reasons these guys are firing as they please, if you hit control and click on one of these, you bring up individual windows for each of your weapons. If you hit shift and control, you can control all of them. And there's a button here that says fire at will. If you click on that, you can actually select how they shoot. You can have them shoot continuously forever and ever. You can have them fire at a target whenever you select a target, which is what we're going to go ahead and pick. Or you can tell them not to hold fire at all times. So it's nice to have choices if that's what you're really into. I definitely like having them shoot at the target, because that way they are only taking out the target. And it's just very useful. So definitely get used to using those controls as well. It'll greatly help you in the future. Especially once you start having multiple weapons and stuff like that. For example, if I wanted to go ahead, select all of these, right? I can actually press 1 on the number key. And I believe that'll make all of these a binding number. So, okay, so it's control 1. That's fine. So now if I escape all the way out and I press 1, it'll actually select all of these weapons for me. You can do that with multiple parts of any ship. So play around with that as well. Another thing that you want to do or learn quickly is managing your resources. So we have a boatload of metal in here, and we don't really need metal all that bad. It is very useful for your repairs, but you only need small amounts in the very beginning. So we're going to go ahead and empty out this entire side over here, like so. All you got to do is drag and drop, or you can click on it and press the delete button on your keyboard. Hold on. Which way is this guy coming? We should be okay, but when you have a situation like this, you always want to keep an eye out, because they can turn at any point, and then he can just come up this way or do whatever he wants to do, really. And sometimes go into your vicinity. If he runs into the circle that we have, he will most likely 100% of the time come after you, at least as of now. Once you unlock sensor arrays and stuff, that doesn't happen all the time like that, but it does kind of happen. So if you double click on an item that is outside of your ship, like so, you'll start selecting multiples of that item specifically. So if I don't want to grab the steel here, I can just go around and individually either click on it one at a time, or I can double click and triple click, and it will grab everything in the vicinity. So triple click, anything that will be missed will be picked up. So let's do it one more time. Takes everyone back. So if we triple click here, see how everything is selected? You can just keep clicking on it. Eventually you'll grab all of this stuff. Times 8. Everybody is back inside the ship. If they're not, they show it down here. Let's head down to this location. We'll do this bounty. Here we are. We found another effigy. That's how you pronounce it. Now, if you have a lot of guns, you can quickly and easily just go for the cockpit. However, I like to avoid any damage. So I'm going to go ahead for the disruptors yet again, go for the lasers or the weapons, and then we can go for the cockpit. If we want to make it a little bit easier, we could even say, hey, go around that ship. Let's speed this up a little bit. And we are successful. So, unfortunately, if we go ahead and look at our repairs, he did take out our shield. So once your shield is gone, your ship is kind of vulnerable unless you have a ton of armor. We have a little bit there right in the front, but definitely keep an eye out for that. So go ahead and loot all of our stuff here. So as you can see, as each person comes outside the ship, there's a little symbol down here. It says there's a person outside of your ship. So anytime you're going to go ahead and make a move, make sure that that number or that red symbol is not there. And that is that O2 symbol that I was telling you about, that they will come running back to the ship in the case that the run out of oxygen there. All right, guys, so we went ahead and completed, I think, 4 bounties. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, it gives you a little bit of fame here. But every time you do a new level of, see how it says danger level 2? Every time you do a new level of bounty, there's a limit. So we can only get up to 90 fame. Our current fame is 52. And you can only get up to 90. So once we complete all of those, we'll be up to 88, which means we can only do one more quest at a danger level 2 and obtain fame. So anyway, with that being said, there's 3 more bounties that I need to complete, and I'm going to go ahead and complete those. But I'm going to end the episode here, and in the next episode, we'll have these completed, and we will head to the next station. But with that being said, if you have learned something, please leave a like, or if you just enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you want to see more content of Cosmoteer or anything that I put out, please subscribe to my channel. I'd greatly appreciate that. But with that being said, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Take care.